welcome back to Community Kitchen. Today we're going to talk about eggs. Again, we've talked about eggs before in the past because I believe that eggs are a good source of protein and a cheap source of protein with a good quality. So for a family who wants to stretch their budget, buying a couple of dozen of eggs or getting them from food bank, it's always a good way to making snacks and lunches or dinners. And there's so many ways to prepare it and different flavors. Today we're gonna make some different omelets, some that baked omelet, and also little quiches. For that, I'm gonna use this store pre-made quiches. They are, you see that? I think there's 30 of them, and the price have changed recently. I think it's still under $5. So you just use how many you want, and roughly almost an egg per quiche, and you can add like cheese to this and ham, onions. So we'll see what we have today to add. So you have a lot of people coming over for a breakfast, a brunch, or you just you have a pound, you want to cook it all at once. Do is cook a whole pound, or this is 500 gram, in the oven. I'll take what I need for the meal and I'll put the rest in a container and keep it for a week. So I just have my cookie sheet lined with parchment if you have any. You don't need parchment, you could use probably foil or nothing. If you get a good pan that won't stick, you could also just use it without it. My pans are getting old, so need a bit of protection. So what I'm just gonna do now is just layer them one beside the other and let them cook like that. I'll put my timer for 15 minutes, check it, turn it around, maybe flip it, separate it, and keep on going for probably another 15 minutes after that. I find this method, at least you don't have a lot of splashing, so it's probably safer around children. Also, you cook a whole bunch at once and then it's done. So this is what it looks just before I put it in the oven. So I'm going to prepare my vegetable to put in the omelet. I have frozen vegetable. Here I have spinach. You could have also broccoli. And it's going to bake for about 30 to 40 minutes in the oven. So you don't really need to thaw your vegetable. You could, if you want, chop it smaller, like broccoli. Sometimes they get into big florets when they're frozen. Thaw it a little bit, just cut it into smaller ones so that will be evenly spread throughout the omelet. I have also an onion that I'm gonna chop finely. Also gonna chop peppers. I bought some mushroom pre-chopped, and I'm gonna try something a bit different. I'm gonna add a thin layer of sweet potato in one of my omelet. Try something. It's a little bit what we call frittata, which is with normal white potatoes, but I thought maybe I'll try to see how well it cooks when it's with the other ingredients. So that's going to be an experiment. So I'll go ahead and chop everything. After 15 minutes, I am going to separate them a little bit. They shrunk, so they create space. So I'm just going to separate them so they don't all cook in one piece, especially if you want individual slices. If you don't. So the 3 ways I'm gonna prepare it, some are little quiches and 2 are omelets. One is gonna be an omelet that I start on the stove top and get that. So I've got a bit of olive oil there. I got it about 5. I'm gonna cook some mushroom. I could have chopped that in little pieces. Onion, a handful of onion, and a handful of peppers. I'm gonna cook this on the stove top till the vegetable are softened and cooked. I'm gonna add my egg mixture to that, top it with cheese, and put it in the oven. So to do that, you have to make sure you have an oven-safe frying pan. For my sweet potato frittata, I've peeled and I cut the slices pretty thin. The thinner, the faster it's gonna be cooking. So like I said, I haven't done that. So this is a trial. So I'm gonna spray my pan don't have a spray, just oil it, butter it. I'm gonna put the sweet potato in a layer right now. I'm just gonna layer the bottom with that. They're a little bit on top of each other. I'm gonna spray that a little bit too. I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 10 minutes and see what happens. Now, you can't make omelet without breaking eggs. So, got some eggs here. Take this up. How many eggs do I need? I'm gonna break a dozen and a half of eggs, large eggs. For the omelet that's on top of the oven, I think you would need 4 eggs for that size. Like I've made that at home very often, 4 large eggs. That would be enough. For the quiches, I'm gonna make 5 little quiches. I think I would need between maybe 4 eggs for that. Depending on how much other stuff you're putting in that quiche. Continuing with cooking that. At home, I would have started this with cooking the bacon, like a couple of slices of bacon in there. Then setting that aside, cooking the vegetable in the bacon fat. And then when I'm ready to add the eggs, I would just chop up the bacon and add it to it. So I've got all my eggs in this container. Trying to break the yolks. I'm gonna add, so I have about 18 eggs. I'm gonna add, these are maybe a total about half a cup of mayo. I like it because it'll give more creaminess. Mayo is basically more eggs, a bit of fat, and I add a bit of water also. You can add milk if you're okay with milk, and I'm gonna add salt and pepper. You can add all kinds of herbs to an egg mix. Some hotness also, maybe a bit of cayenne or hot pepper. Trying to get, especially the yolks, to be all, I don't necessarily want to beat it up too much because I don't want it to get overly puffy. I don't want a souffle, I want an omelet. Here I have my little quiche. Only took 5, easy demo. So I'm gonna put a little bit of onions in there. You can use whatever vegetable your family enjoys. I like onions. I'm gonna keep the spinach for the other frittata. I can put some. If you wanted a vegetarian, you can put, I'll put a bit of, in one of them, I'll see how it works. Let's do that. I'll add spinach, a couple of them. If you have ham, chopped it up small, put it in that. It's also, so if a child brings that for lunch at school, that's a perfect little meal. A couple of those, even that, that's, you know, you have proteins, and the pie shell is going to be enough energy to fill them up. And I'm going to add my cheese. So now I've put whatever I want in my quiche. I'm going to add my eggs. So this is an ounce of egg mix. So it's really full with that because I've put quite a bit of stuff in there. This also does not take very long to cook, 25 minutes in the oven. That's all. I'm gonna take it out. You'll see it'll puff really high, and then as it cools down, I'm gonna bring down the puffiness. Is gonna go down. Got my bacon here. You can have it more or less. So this is after half an hour, and it's still kind of. I find that it's perfect. Like if you're having just eggs in the morning, this is a perfect done. It's not overdone. But if you like it crispier, there's one here that's crispier. So I'm gonna get a few, chop that up, and add it to my omelet on the stovetop. So I've got my cooked veggies here. I'm adding my bacon. So here I'm gonna do just enough to cover the bottom. So I have probably less than an inch at the bottom of my pan. Top that with cheese. You have to have cheese. This is gonna go to the oven, probably only like 10 minutes or so, not very long, because everything's pretty warm and hot. The pan is also hot. Woo, hot. So this, not completely cooked for that, but I want it to go in the oven soon. So that's about 10 minutes in the oven with the sweet potato on the bottom. I'm gonna add the spinach that's frozen. That's not gonna help. Onions, layer of onions. I'm gonna add just a few mushrooms. So apart from the sweet potato that was a little bit cooked in the oven, everything is raw. Well, the spinach is frozen, pre-cooked. So I've got everything I need there. I'm gonna add my bacon. So really this bacon is just perfect with half an hour at 350. That's a lot of bacon. It's gonna look beautiful, all the colors. So now I'm giving out the rest of my egg. So if I had to guess, that would probably be almost a dozen of eggs, considering all the other stuff I did. Top of the cheese. Ah! It's hot. Yeah, don't forget that it's hot. It's been in the oven 10 minutes. So you look at the thickness. So see the thickness of this? So I think this is gonna take close to 45 minutes to cook. So putting it now so I'll be ready for lunch. 10 minutes later. There you go. So that's one quiche done. A little trick, if you don't know if your pan handle can handle the heat in the oven, I just wrapped mine in aluminum paper, and just to make sure, because I couldn't absolutely remember it was oven safe, so better safe than sorry. Straight out of the oven. So this is about 55 minutes in the oven. So let's see how well it's cooked. I'm really curious about those sweet potatoes at the bottom. Oh yeah, they're cooked. Now I have to test it. Fork. All right, let's just test it. So the sweet potatoes are cooked.